Remember, when disaster strikes, the time to prepare has passed. Stephen Syros. Picture the scene. The whole family's snuggled up on the sofa watching a movie, and the kids are wolfing down popcorn like there's no tomorrow. The heating's on, the lights are glowing, and you're considering hot chocolate all around. Then, suddenly, the TV screen is black. The lights are off. The heating's cut out. And boiling water for hot chocolate has become a serious mission. Plus, the kids have lost the plot, and your wife's panicking about how you're all going to navigate the morning routine. That was my house a couple of weeks ago. It was all totally fine, over within a few hours, in fact. It was just a short-term power outage. No doubt you've had them yourself. And if you're anything like me, you've got everything you need to handle them. We actually had a good evening. Once the kids had calmed down, we filled the front room with candles, wrapped ourselves in blankets, and cracked open the board games. And we made that hot chocolate over a camping stove found in the back of a cupboard with the help of a flashlight. The kids loved it. Arguably, we had a better night than we would have had watching the movie. It got me thinking, though. We were fine for a few hours. We had everything we needed to see us through an immediate problem with the grid. But would we have coped if it had gone on for weeks? The answer, unfortunately, was no. We'd have been fine for a little while, but if we had to live without power for more than a couple of weeks, we'd have struggled. There have been disasters and power outages all across America over the last few years, and the same is true in Europe, Asia, and Oceania. The problem isn't getting better. In fact, it's only getting worse. We're facing more and more extreme weather, and the grid is subject to increasing pressure. The chances of a longer-term grid-down situation are becoming ever more likely. That small-scale power outage made me realize we need to be more prepared. And if my family, a family for whom being prepared is second nature, needed to work on this, how many other families would struggle if the grid was to go down? And this, I know, is why you're here. We're all afraid that we won't be able to keep our families safe and healthy if the comforts we currently rely on suddenly become unavailable. Most of us are fully dependent on the grid, and if you're wondering how you'd cope without it, you're certainly not alone. We haven't had to think about how to meet the demands of a busy household without it, so most of us haven't. You might not be aware of what equipment you need to have in backup, how you'll keep up with your family's personal hygiene and medical needs, what you'll do about cooking, or how you'll communicate with the outside world. You might have worried about what you'll do if you get caught without power, but are you equipped for it? Do you even fully understand what it means? Perhaps, like me, a power outage woke you up to the fact that you need to be more prepared. Or perhaps you were taking stock of the supplies you've already prepared for a disaster, only to realize that all that rice isn't going to be much use without any way to cook it. You're looking for solutions, and let me tell you, you've come to the right place. Once I get a whiff of a hole in my own preparedness plan, I'm obsessive. So I can tell you I've thought all this through thoroughly. You're going to come away with practical advice you can implement straight away to make sure your family's prepared no matter what happens. You'll have a clear idea of the essential supplies you'll want to get a hold of in case we find ourselves faced with a grid-down emergency, and you'll have a better understanding of the bases you need to cover. You'll learn strategies that will help you in a range of different disasters, and you'll recognize exactly what you currently rely on the grid for so that you're better equipped to think around it. I've spent years studying wilderness and urban survival, and my family and I have been preparing our homestead for the worst for years. I might have left a few gaps in my original plan, but we're on it now, and I promise you can trust the information I'm going to share with you. If wilderness survival is possible, then urban survival is possible, even without the grid. In fact, there are plenty of people who live off the grid by choice. I read about one man in Florida who's been living in a camper van completely independent from the grid for 20 years. He's going to be fine if the grid goes down. But don't worry, it won't be long before you will be too. Those short-term power outages will be a piece of cake. But better yet, you'll be ready to face something much more serious. I've taken all the hard work out for you. You don't have to think about a thing. Just assess your family's needs, gather your supplies, and stock up.